Hey Patriots, over the last 2 years, the missus and I have been in transition. We picked the absolute worst time to sell our previous house, live in a transition house, and build the O'Neill estate here. And along the way, we found ourselves kind of behind the power curve, especially in the area of preparation and food prep. So not too long ago, we bought a Harvest Right freeze dryer, and so I wanted to introduce maybe a new segment to the channel. I guess we'll call it Freeze Dried Fridays, where you can come along with us and come on a journey as we try to figure this fancy contraption out. So in this video today, we're gonna basically explain the benefits of spending a bunch of money on a Harvest Right freeze dryer. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. The first thing we need to discuss is that my wife and I are not experts in the freeze drying process or the technology. We're noobs, so don't be a douchebag. Alrighty, now that we've got some ground rules set, let's talk a little bit about the difference between dehydrated foods and freeze-dried foods. So dehydration has been used for centuries, and usually it involves heating or smoking something with temperatures that are high enough to draw moisture out of food but not cook it. Versus freeze drying, we essentially put food in a vacuum chamber, it freezes it, and then it slowly warms the food. And what it does is it causes the water in the food to transform from a solid to a gas state. And that way it's better at maintaining the food structure and taste and texture, and also the nutrients. So dehydrating helps to eliminate about 90 to 95% of moisture, while freeze drying helps to remove about 98 to 99% of moisture. And so basically what lower moisture content leads to is longer shelf life. Freeze drying tends to maintain nutritional value as well as color and shape and everything a little bit better than dehydrating food. So dehydration uses higher temperatures, and that tends to denature proteins, and it can mess with vitamin and mineral content of your foods. Versus freeze drying is kind of like suspending your food. It's like suspended animation. So it tends to maintain color, shape, and is generally as nutritious the day you reconstitute it, which is the word for bringing it back to life, as the day that you put it through the freeze dryer. From a preparedness standpoint, especially if you're a hiker, a backpacker, you want to put some food in a go bag, maybe your plan is to bug out with your camper. Freeze drying offers a significant weight savings. So like we talked about earlier, freeze drying can removes 98 to 99% of moisture from foods, and subsequently can reduce weight by about 90%. So compare this with traditional ways of preserving food like canning. You got big bulky cans or jars, and how much weight difference you might have there. So and as we've discussed on many live streams and other videos, traditionally ounces add up to pounds, and pounds equal pain. So the more you can reduce your weight that you're carrying on your body, the less pain you're going to be in, the faster you can move, the less energy you're going to expend in that movement. So freeze drying superior in weight versus traditional food preparation methods. Another benefit of freeze drying is that it is usually faster to bring back to life or reconstitute than dehydrated foods. So dehydrated foods, you might have to cook, even boil the foods for anywhere from what I've seen 15 minutes to 4 hours versus reconstituting things, freeze-dried foods, usually takes about 5 to 8 minutes. And so something else I learned recently, if you want to know how much moisture you'll need to reconstitute something, when you're freeze-drying foods, you should measure the weight of the food that you put in the freeze dryer pre-freeze drying, and then measure it post-freeze drying, and that differential will give you an idea of how much moisture you need to add back the day you decide to reconstitute your food and partake in your spoils. The last benefit we'll share today, and the thing I love the most about freeze drying, or the idea of freeze drying, is preserving foods potentially for when shit hits the fan, preserving foods that I actually eat today, right? So all kinds of videos and things out there on preserving staples. We even have one. It's a very early video that Patrick did on preserving things like rice and beans and other big staples. But to be honest with you, most of the time I kind of lean on a ketogenic type of diet, and rice and beans aren't kind of in my wheelhouse, right? So what I look forward to, if I'm not eating ketogenic, it's the typical American stuff or whatever. You can, the variety of foods that you can freeze dry are infinite. There's lots of different groups on social media that you can tap into, and you'll see folks kind of showing off their wizardry with candy, with fruits, with vegetables, with various types of meat, and other things that when the day comes, I just can't imagine the morale boost that you will get when you can eat some of the foods that you eat today and kind of maintain that semblance of normalcy. So that's probably the number one reason I look forward to freeze drying. And so we get some good stuff put back, breakfast foods, from eggs to breakfast meats to biscuits and gravy, and on down the line. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. So Patriots, I hope this little video helps you a little bit, kind of wrap your mind around why somebody might invest in a freeze dryer. They are expensive up front. A large freeze dryer like my wife and I have, they're going to run you $3,500 to $4,000. But like I said, I kind of explained my hashtag reasons for purchasing one. We're behind a power curve, and the large freeze dryer that we got will allow us, when we kind of get our skills up, to preserve up to 20 pounds of kind of moist contents at a time. Of course, we talked about the weight reduction, but 20 pounds of foods that we actually eat today, put back for tomorrow. And like I said, we talked about how long some of this stuff may last, 25, 30 years. So it's just like any other insurance policy, guys. You hate paying for them, but it may pay dividends in the end. So I hope you enjoyed this preface video. I've got some other ones already filmed, but it dawned on me that I needed to kind of lay the foundation of why Freeze Dry Fridays on the Prepared Patriot NC channel. So I'm sure there's lots of freeze drying experts out there, and there's tons of things I missed in just this video. If you are more knowledgeable than myself, please leave some constructive information in the comments below. So we're all here to learn. We're all here to prepare beyond just firearms. We're here to prepare for our family, our loved ones, to be their rock and their guide in the times of need. So if you got some expertise and knowledge, leave us some comments down below. If you want to collaborate on some filming, come on over. Email us at preparedpatriotnc@gmail.com. So with that, guys, thanks for sticking all the way through the video. And as always, we always close every segment, every video with our tagline: carry smart, carry safe, and be prepared. And preparedness is much more than firearms, guys.